Welcome back to Healing Special Education. I've had a couple of requests for people to go back to basics and kind of give some background on special education for people that don't really understand or know or haven't really been involved with special education. So that's my project for today. Special Ed Back to Basics with some really basic information with Special Education 101. The process starts with the student having trouble with something in usually reading or math, some big area in their gen ed class. Usually happens fairly early on, first, second, third grade. They're not getting it as quick as the other kids. Doesn't mean they're special ed yet, but that's the process. That's the beginning. That's where we start looking at kids when we see they're not gaining the knowledge they need. The first thing we do is to have a student study team meeting. That student study team meeting consists of specialists, gen ed teachers, maybe the psychologist, whatever the team is developed at the school, whoever can help that particular child. And there may be a speech therapist brought in or someone brought in from a specialist. Usually, but a student study team process is a general education function. It is not a function of special ed. We might get advice from the special ed team, but it is a general education function. So we're going to look at that, and when we're going to from there we're going to recommend strategies and interventions and things to help that student along. So as we do that process, we're going to implement those things, give suggestions to the teacher, and at that point we'll move forward, do those things, come back in a few weeks, maybe 5-6 weeks, and see what's going right, what's going wrong, are there improvements, are they responding or not. At that point, and they can schedule another meeting depending on the child and the circumstances, or they can recommend an assessment if the student doesn't respond, is not responding. The SST makes this initial referral often, or the family can write a letter. And we get lots of letters from families whose children are having a hard time. Here's the issue with this process. The families know their child's having trouble, and special ed seems like the only avenue for help, which is not really true. There are other ways to help your child. However, special ed seems like the way to go often. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Special ed is not tutoring. It's not helping a child who's having trouble for a myriad of reasons other than they have a disability. Special education is for children, for students with disabilities. And there's eligibility, that's a whole nother topic. That it would take me a whole nother section, and I'll get into that another time. So as we move forward, the family writes the letter. If the family doesn't speak English or they're having a hard time writing this letter, they don't know, what do we put in it, how do we do it, the school is obligated to assist the family in writing the letter. When the parent writes the letter or the family writes the letter, it should include all areas of suspected disability. For example, my child is having a hard time learning to read. They don't seem to be getting the math as quick, or they're antisocial. They're having a hard time with social aspects, their behavior, whatever. All the areas, their speech, academics, behavior, social, whatever is going on that's causing trouble for your child, put it in the letter. When we assess, we want to assess all the areas of suspected disability. That's why when you do an assessment for a child, and when we do the assessment, we're pretty extensive, and we ask lots of questions, and we ask you to fill out lots of forms and rating scales. With the next step, after we get the letter or the SST team makes the determination, we send an assessment plan with, it's a form, and it'll have different areas to be assessed, PE, adaptive PE if that's an issue, academic functioning, cognitive, speech, OT, whatever is going to be assessed will be on that form. So it'll be checked off, and who's going to do it, not the name of the person, but the position of that person. person. School psychologist, special education teacher, education specialist, that's the teacher as well, speech therapist, APE therapist, occupational therapist, whoever's going to be doing the assessment will be on the plan. Assessment will be completed and a meeting held. So you're going to sign the assessment plan. It must be returned, signed. If you have questions, you want things added, taken off, you need to talk to the person. Writing on the assessment plan doesn't change the assessment plan. The assessment plan is generated by the district for you. So you need to talk to them when they call you and what we're going to assess. You need to talk to them. Tell them what you want. Let them know what you need assessed, what you think their problems are. Have a conversation with the school psychologist and get that going. Assessment plan will be completed and a meeting held. It's an individual education plan meeting. IEP is a document that states a legal document that states all the services, the eligibility, placement, and it's a legal document binding between the district. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some more special ed terms in a second, but I'm going to let you go for now, and we're going to be right back, so hang on.